Install paper feeder. Put the paper feeder rack fixing plate on the machine fixing plate. Then connect the anchor, pick up the nut in the groove of the anchor, and lock the anchor fixing screw. The station rod should be located in the center of two belt wheels. And then lock the fixing screws of the frame fixing plate in the machine fixing plate. The distance between the front end of the pulley and the paper is 5-10 millimeters. If the distance is not correct, loosen the screws on both sides of the fixing frame for adjustment. The two pulley should be 5-10 millimeters higher than the middle station pole. If the height is not correct, loosen the 4 screws below the machine fixing plate for adjustment. As shown in the figure, unscrew the screws on the side of the paper feeder and install the fixing block of the paper feed guide rod. First, put the paper guide rod through the paper retaining card buckle, and then put the paper retaining card buckle on the paper feed guide rod fixing block. The paper guide rod bend is installed vertically downward towards the machine. On the other side, put the paper guide rod second through the paper retaining card buckle sleeve, and then put the paper retaining card buckle sleeve through the paper feeding guide rod fixed block. According to the size of the paper, there is a little space between the left and right guide rod and the paper in principle, and the guide rod is lower in the middle of the paper. Remove the paper guide. Remove the screw as shown in the picture and tighten the screw in another direction. Then install the paper guide block in the middle of the paper. Let the paper guide block all the paper directly into the paper holder. Paper feeder connect air pipe. Open the cover under the paper feeder. 1. The paper feeder connect air with 2 PCS 6 mm air pipe from the 2 holes of the paper feeder, connected to under the panel Y16, paper feeder control valve, 1Q30 solenoid valve at the lower end of the parallel 2 joints. The specific operation method is to first put the 2 PCS 6 mm air pipes on the paper feeder into the panel through the gap between the cover and the panel, and then connect them to the 2 parallel joints at the lower end of the solenoid valve of Y16, paper feeder control valve, 1Q30. 2. Air source of paper feeder. Cut off a single 8 mm air pipe connected by air pump on the right side 5 to 10 cm from the interface. Find 8 mm 3-way connecting to throttle pipe in the toolbox, and then connect one end of the 8 mm air pipe, prepared in advance, and the other end is connected to the lower joint of the solenoid valve of Y16, paper feeder control valve, 1Q30. 3. Clad connect air. First placed under the panel, the 2 unconnected 6 mm air pipes and the T's are well arranged. Find the labeled Y2 paper suction solenoid valve. Connect one of the 6 mm air pipes to the lower connector of the solenoid valve, and then cut off the former 8 mm air pipe of the upper connector of the solenoid valve 5 to 10 cm from the interface. In the toolbox to find 2 8 mm and of a 6 mm TT connected to the 2 throttle pipe, and then connected to another 6 mm pipe the original solenoid valve and the 8 mm pipe out, connected to the joint behind the clap. The original solenoid valve on the 6 mm pipe out, connected to the joint in front of the clap. The specific operation method is to extend the other end of the 2 6 mm air pipes connected in front through the gap between the cover and the panel, and tie the 2 air pipes in turn as shown in the video. The air pipe is reserved to the middle position of the paper rack, and then the 2 well-arranged T's are installed. The remaining air pipe is connected to the cylinder padded on the side of the paper rack, and the excess air pipe is reduced to the middle position of the paper rack, connected with the positive chi joint. And the last air pipe is connected to the air pipe pitted on the back of the paper rack, and then tied with a tie belt. This is the spread airfoil machine, otherwise a practical machine is on the side of the machine. The method is the same as spread out airfoils. The only difference is that the air source is connected with the 8mm gas pipe near the solenoid valve. Then install the number 10 sensor holder on the paper guide rod. After that, locate and install according to the position of the paper to be reloaded.